be fast.
Where all you read.
We here at Flying H Motorsports. It's a brand new racetrack in Missouri to show to you guys a little bit about EFI blown applications. They're having a pretty badass Pro Mod race this weekend, and I thought it was a pretty good opportunity to not just show the theory behind going EFI on a blower, but actually how does it work, okay? So I have a couple examples of Pro Mods, or I would say trying to be a Pro Mod. This is actually a no prep car. This is a steel roof quarters, respecting all the dimensions of a real Mustang. Pesz drives this no prep Kings, and he actually brought it here to a Pro Mod race to see how it goes. So this is actually a pretty cool application. Like Brandon Pesz was one of the first ones to start doing like in mass, and he made it pretty simple. This is a easy conversion from a mechanical setup. His intake actually has a port that you still can run mechanical. So his intake can run mechanical or EFI, and he runs a 6 MRB connection from the injector. So it's a custom injector that we provide. There's other brands that also have. But it does have a fuel rail, right? It's a single stage pump, but it's a huge pump, right? Really large pump. We talk about 30 plus gallons pump. You don't need it. But this is the deal. He still runs dual regulators. So you have a really pump that can overcome the regulators, 80 injectors on the top, and then he has 80 injectors on the bottom. It's a PJS 4.9 Hemi, it's screw blown. And I believe at No Prep Kings, they can run 98% overdrive. They came here to this Pro Mod race, they had to drop to 92 to be class legal, right? But the cool thing is, it's slightly different, you know, like the single pump, still dual regulator, the same deal, 16 injectors, right? They actually have a really nice partnership with a Brazilian company, Expert, to do the intakes. I just think it's pretty cool. And this is actually the same combination that I run on my personal VW car, but I do run different plumbing for the EFI. So you see, it's not just a single way to do it, okay? And we may go more in depth later, okay? So let's check the second car. Again, it is 1 we actually did. After that, so I got another one. Okay, walking through the pits, there's another one. But it's similar setup, right? So front end is back. They just ran the car. Actually, they are already ready to go to another lap. The car just made like a 369 lap or so. But it's interesting to see how things work, right? So on the mechanical fuel injection, the sides, you have something else than just the cable. This has the throttle cable this side. There's nothing here. If it was a mechanical setup, you see a barrel valve, right? So it's a valve that goes here and actually modulates the fuel flow that comes from the pump. When you have a EFI system, you don't have a barrel valve anymore. One of the beauties about this is the system now is boost based. So it's actually easier to idle, free rev, slowly give throttle, make a burnout, because the barrel valve commands the fuel. On EFI, the boost commands the fuel. So let me say this thing makes about a pound on idle. It makes boost on idle. The ECU is commanding the fuel for that. If you barely crack the throttle, it maybe make 5, 10, 12. It's exact amount of fuel that you told the ECU to do it. The bare valve is kind of linear. So it's gonna be a little lean, a little rich. So you kind of need to find the spot to run the car or all the way. When it's EFI, you actually could go down the track like that. But you cannot do it on a barrel valve. You do like this, usually the barrel valve don't flow enough, it hurts the motor. You have to always be like full throttle, right? Besides the burnout. On an EFI car, makes it easier to do a pedal job, a feather job, or something like that. So EFI makes those small perks to the driving side, right? But here, let's show a little detail here. The fuel being spread from the upper rail to the injectors, going to lines to similar spots that will be the nozzles of the mechanical. Honestly, it's the same spot, right? And there is no valve, there's no nothing. It's just like a line straight to that position, right? So it's really simple. There is no more like a pop-up valve or something. It's just straight line. Your fuel management comes from the injector. So small wiring harness, plumbing, right? Injectors on the bottom. There's a rail here you can see. But like it's pretty much, my opinion, it's different, but it's actually simpler, right? You have less points of failure. You don't have a bunch of pop-up valves. You have the same amount of lines. You don't have the barrel valve. You have fuel regulators. You don't depend on how the pump flows because the regulator makes the pressure how you want. MFI, system mechanical injection, you actually need to flow your pump because the pump, always pumping, you leak back to the fuel cell. If your pump pumps a little less, it gets lean, right? So you rely on the pump being tip-top. On the EFI, you don't. She actually flows more than you need, regulator dumps back, and this thing commands the fuel. So I think they just call us. Let's see a little more runs from these EFI blowers, and they sound really cool. So like pay attention to the sound and how fast they go down the track. So right now, double checking what Brandon is doing on his car. So again, we run the same engine combination. He's my engine builder. So I know a little bit about this engine. That's what I run on my personal RVW car. We just made one lap finally. We found the issues on the transmission. It was a mix of self-inflicted with lack of knowledge, I would say, on our side. But now we know, right? So we fixed the problem on the drive. Drive works flawless. And we made that lap and went 369. We're pretty happy with that. But like that car, that orange Camaro, being bottom 60s, right? So that was a A to B run, being honest, right? Track's tricky. What we're gonna try to do is, based on the plugs, do a change, timing and fuel, to make sure that we can make all the power the motor can make, and look into previous run, try to apply that power early to see if we can make the number change from a 369 to a 65 or a 64 or something that would place us better, you know, on the qualifying sheet. Let's see how it goes. The white is not looking that good, but we need to keep digging here. Okay, so we saw some of the things, right, on the car, and now I'm gonna tell you guys about some of the parts outside the car. So Cole here is the driver of the beautiful Mustang that you guys checked it out earlier, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You happy?
Yeah, no, it's a badass car.
Good experience?
Yeah, it was my dream car as a kid, so it's pretty cool to get a racing car like that, for sure.
So let me tell you this. This guy right here is just not driving the car. He's one of the co-owners of PJS. So he's officially one of my engine builders.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So here, I'm gonna use them as example because I think it's pretty cool. They like to run screw blowers and roots blowers, like this is their thing, so there's no place better than try to explain how the EFI works with them, right? So I have it here. crazy lightweight, it's carbon fiber, right? So this is the blower hat, right? So I'm missing a blower here, the magic piece that makes the compression, right? So this is the inlet, okay? Pretty simple, huge, right? Air comes in, comes back down here. Then imagine I have that magic box that compresses stuff. It actually sits right here on top of the intake, right? So we have the intake manifold right here. But on the intake manifold is where the EFI magic works. Fuel injector, right? We have the tip, it's just protected, it's spare. Fuel comes in, electronic connections go to the ECU, right? Then on the tip, fuel comes out, and right here you can see it pre-assembled. This is actually pretty neat. This intake is pretty neat, right? So individual trumpets, that's some tricked out shit.
Oh, that's some trick. Everything we have is trick shit.
Yeah, I can see that engine platform is pretty cool. Injectors, fuel rails, imagine you had the blower, you can see everything, how it goes. The ECU control, metering the fuel in every single hole on the proper firing order. Different from a mechanical system, it's not like a constant flow, like squirting fuel endlessly and you changing pressure. With this thing, you actually can like, okay, this intake valve is about to open. Let's put some fuel in. You know, oh, the valve is about to close. Stop it. You know, you can do that thing that you cannot do on a mechanic. So check out the other video that we spoke about. There's some other details, but it's actually pretty cool to see some, you know, in person, some of the parts that make this.
For sure. Yeah, no doubt.
So good luck, bud.
Yes, sir.
Make some noise. Let's make some noise.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so after we saw different applications at the track, at the dyno, at the pits, right? Different cars, different stuff, different ways to plumb. I would like to talk a little bit about not just the parts, but the people that come behind the product. So, as you guys know, FuelTech is a Brazilian-based company, and we are here in the United States for over 10 years. And in between those years, we noticed like great relationships, including with companies from Brazil. And here, the owner and driver of this beautiful vehicle that we use several times to explain how things work, it's here in the United States, obviously driving the car, qualified number 3 in this race that's really competitive. We just won the first round, right? And racing is racing stuff. But I got him on this side of the video, so we actually can talk to him a little bit about how his company, MRB Motorsports, will work manufacturing products like the FT Injector, okay? And we're gonna do this interview in Portuguese, so I'm asking, I'm sorry right now, but we're gonna put subtitles so you guys can understand. So we're gonna talk a little bit in Portuguese about his company, our partnership, what they do, right? And why he believes on making such a good injector, coming here to the United States and compete, you know, build the vehicle here and make it go fast. Então, Roderjan, prazer te ter aqui nos Estados Unidos, né? Não é todo dia que tu mora no Brasil, tu trabalha no Brasil, e eu particularmente acho muito legal que tu vem para os Estados Unidos, tu mantém uma operação de corrida aqui, e toda vez que tu tem tempo, tu traz a tua equipe do Brasil para competir aqui nos Estados Unidos, que é a meca da arrancada, né? E poder não só se divertir, mas também provar que o produto que tu desenvolveu, né, que é o FT Injector, é um produto bom, tu usa no teu carro e tu prova que ele funciona, né? Então fala um pouquinho da MRB, do FT Injector, dessas coisas, só para o pessoal botar assim, ó, uma cara no produto.
A MRB é uma divisão de um grupo empresarial de construção de peças, né? O grupo, a parte maior, onde nós somos acionistas, é onde se tem uma fábrica com 2.400 funcionários que fazemos produtos para as montadoras do Brasil e dos Estados Unidos. 25% do nosso faturamento exportamos freios para grandes montadoras dos Estados Unidos. Lá nós temos uma fundição de alumínio, uma fundição de ferro, uma grande usinagem, né? Uma forjaria, onde a gente faz todos esses produtos. A MRB nasceu há muitos anos atrás para fazer dispositivos e ferramentais para a WHB. Ela nasceu para isso.
Ah, entendi, legal. Então, quantos anos mais ou menos tem a WHB?
A WHB tem 35 anos.
Então tá, então aproximadamente 35 anos atrás começou esse negócio que fornece peças para montadoras. Né? Então um volume grande.
São grandes volumes.
Estamos falando de milhares e milhares e milhares de peças.
Milhares e milhares de peças. 40 mil blocos de motor por mês. Já chegamos a fornecer 40 mil virabrequins por mês.
40 mil virabrequins, 40 mil blocos por mês.
Nós somos a maior empresa do Brasil em bielas.
Nossa!
Fornece milhões de bielas anuais. De cada biela vai 4 bielas, cada motor vai 4 bielas. Ou no Brasil tem motores menores.
Quantos milhões você falou?
São milhões. É só fazer uma conta de 450 mil por mês.
I need to see this in English just for a second. So this guy is saying stuff about the main company, right? And they manufacture yearly over 4 million con rods. So you can kind of see the size. He just told us that's over 3,200 employees, right? So that's pretty cool. That's the main company, right? And then it comes MRB Motorsports. Então ela nasceu para ajudar a WHB naqueles projetos mais específicos.
Isso, ela nasceu para fazer dispositivos e a WHB não tirar para fora o know-how da construção de dispositivos de usinagem. Ficava tudo internamente, mas o site é 2 km de uma empresa, uma milha de uma empresa a outra. Aí há 5 anos atrás, com o Anderson nós começamos a ter a ideia que eu queria muito entrar no ramo de peças de alta performance.
Ah, perfeito.
E fiquei anos pensando.
Sim, tu gosta de carro, né?
Eu gosto de carro.
Há quanto tempo tu compete? Fala isso pra nós.
Desde 94.
Então tá, então.
São
He drag
30
race
anos.
for 30 years.
30 anos.
30 years competing on drag race.
Comecei com um carro de 150 cavalos.
150 horses. It's funny, right? So from 150 horses to over 4,000. Eu gostei dessa de 150 para 4 mil.
É a evolução, são os degraus, né? São os degraus. Então isso, daí, desde quando eu conheci o Anderson, daí quando eu conheci a Proline, Eric Diller, que eu gosto muito, desde essa época eu falei, eu preciso fazer alguma coisa para entrar, eu queria estar no meio com o esporte que eu tanto amo, mas como que eu vou estar no meio desses caras, né? Há 5 anos atrás, 6 anos atrás nasceu a ideia de fazer o injetor, mas é muito complexo. Mas como nós temos muita tecnologia em usinagem, né? Daí eu fiz uma divisão separada, totalmente separada de todos os negócios para os injetores. Funcionários separados, comprei máquinas separadas, tudo para o injetor. Né? E ao longo dos anos, nós levamos 2 anos e meio só no desenvolvimento do produto e no desenvolvimento na pista, que eu fiquei andando com o meu carro durante 8 meses, no começo da pandemia, alugando pista, 8 meses correndo, dei mais de 150 passadas, eu acho.
Over 3 years developing this thing, right? And on his personal race operation, right? Months in a row going to the track to test, tune the injector before even releasing to the market. Like that's a lot of effort. There's a lot of, will to make it happen.
Nós investimos milhões, muito dinheiro mesmo a gente investiu para fazer o desenvolvimento e quando o produto saísse ele ter sucesso, né? Que é o que a gente vê hoje. Então, daí fazem exatamente agora 3 anos que a gente vende o produto. No ano que vem está indo para o 4º ano que a gente vende o produto.
E quantos tu acha que tu já vendeu nesses?
Nós já passou de 55 mil a venda.
So over 55,000 FT injectors already sold on those 3 years that's available.
Nós começamos primeiro com os injetores grandes, para motores grandes, e há pouco mais de 1 ano atrás foi lançado os injetores de alta impedância.
Quantas opções a gente tem hoje mais ou menos?
80, 120, 109 opções. Nós temos 9 opções de injetores entre alta impedância e baixa impedância.
So today they have 9 different sizes, flow-wise, for the injectors.
Eu diria que nós somos talvez o único no mundo de 80 a 1020. A única empresa no mundo que faz 80 a 1020. E graças a Deus com muita qualidade, né? O 240 tem tido um sucesso de vendas assim que estamos vendendo milhares por mês agora.
Tá, aí me diz uma coisa, essa divisão que começou fazendo ferramental para a empresa mãe e faz um injetor, o FT Injector, faz mais coisa, né? Vocês fazem hoje, por exemplo, bloco de performance, essas coisas. O que vocês fazem ainda?
Faz mais ou menos uns 2 anos atrás nós começamos a desenvolver bloco billet.
Tá.
A ideia não é fazer bloco billet de V8, cabeçote V8.
O mercado brasileiro?
O mercado brasileiro são motores menores. Sim. São 4 cilindros de 2.000 cavalos que eles usam. São 6 cilindros com 2.500 cavalos, que é o Chevrolet, né?
Aquele inline 6. Like, they love that engine in Brazil, the inline 6, and then it's a really old platform, like a steel block, but it's not like a 2JZ style, like modern style. It's like from the 40s, right? So they developed that billet inline 6. They also do the billet blocks.
Isso. Então a ideia foi porque no Brasil tem milhares de carros de competição, milhares. E as pessoas gostam muito do chamado Opala e dos 4 cilindros Volkswagen. Tem milhares. E eu comecei a perceber lá, eu e também outros fabricantes lá, claro. Mas eu comecei a perceber a dificuldade que essas pessoas estavam tendo, porque os blocos
original, né?
usavam blocos de 30 anos atrás, com concreto mesmo.
Né?
Não foi feito para andar com 2.000 cavalos. Sim. Então quebra, o risco na pista, tudo é um problema.
Toda hora, né?
Toda hora, olha na
pista,
acidente. Então nós começamos a fazer e incrivelmente esse ano está sendo um sucesso. Nós, em menos de um ano, já entregamos 35 motores e agora tem mais de 50 motores na fila. Mais de 50 motores na fila. E daí agora estamos desenvolvendo também, como a gente já tem um know-how muito grande em Berbequim, nós vamos desenvolver o Berbequim 4, no futuro 6 cilindros, forjado na nossa forjaria, forjado e usinado por nós, também numa unidade separada que nós estamos construindo para essas peças performance. Porque no Brasil você tem muita dificuldade em Berbequim. E nós vamos fazer um Berbequim que não tem forjado. Porque a maioria compra um Blanc, usina o Berbequim, e ele não é tão strong, tão forte como o Berbequim forjado. E agora o mais novo lançamento é as bielas. Estamos fazendo bielas de altíssima performance. A biela de aço VM300, ela tem quase o peso de uma biela de titânio.
Nossa.
E já tem muitos motores andando com sucesso assim estrondoso. Estamos muito felizes com isso. A ideia é partir mais para uma coisa bastante performance e menos de rua. É tentar atender esse público que sofre tanto com quebra.
Eu achei legal, tá? Porque assim, na minha opinião, tá? Porque não necessariamente todo mundo sabe, tá? Mas eu na FuelTech, o Anderson na FuelTech, né? O Roderjan ali na MRB, nós somos pessoas que a gente gosta muito do esporte, né? E uma coisa que pelo menos me chamou a atenção, eu acho que o Roderjan em específico, ele consegue demonstrar bastante o quanto ele gosta, porque o carro dele é um doméstico, né? É um V8 Supercharger, né? Com screw blower, uma mecânica Noonan, né? A ProLime fez o motor para ele, usa câmbio Mark Nick 3 marchas, mas ele não fica parado nisso. Ele tenta desenvolver produtos para o resto do pessoal da arrancada. Então, injetor vai desde o cara que tem uma motinho de arrancada até esse cara aqui, ou o Mark Nick,
ou um jet ski.
Ou um jet ski. Daí o bloco ele não quer fazer algo que ele já sabe que é bom, ele está fazendo algo que está faltando, tentando ajudar o pessoal na arrancada. Então, está faltando um 6 em linha aqui no mercado brasileiro, vamos fazer. Tá faltando um 4
Temos um kit agora para os Estados Unidos, de 6 cilindros.
Ah, que legal, olha só.
Vendemos
bacana. So, I really hope you guys have enjoyed this whole video about screw blower EFI, right? But not just the screw blower EFI, but the people behind FuelTech and mostly MRB that makes the FT Injector that allows us to run the screw blower EFI as good as we can run. And it's my friend, so I'm hoping we're gonna go rounds this week. It's 150,000 on the line, but this is racing. We have Mark Mickey, #1 qualifier, still in, right? Harris, Peter A, Pro Boost champion, is still in. We qualify #3. There's like Cellini, we're gonna go now against King, there's so many people that are really fast, so like it ain't easy to win, but at least we're here competing on the same level, right? With products from United States, products from Brazil, racing together in the United States on the mecca of drag racing. So see you guys next time. We're gonna try to keep showing cool stuff about drag racing and high performance stuff.